Okay, thank you very much for joining us today, the day after yesterday's webinar. So it seems this is a busy period with our webinars. Today we have a topic gender equality plan development and host organization is NASRI. So we have our colleague Imirion with us who will going to present their achievements in this particular activity. Although it was now, let's say, a long time ago, almost at the beginning of the project, but still the results and some. I'm sure that now it's better to have some bird perspective and then see how it impacted actually the probably even the process and the success rate in applying for the Horizon Euro projects. So Miriam, the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you so much, Sanya. And good morning, everyone. And I'm trying to basically, just a disclaimer on my end, I tried to, while I wasn't present during the time that the activities, the gender equality development plan happened, I'm tried to basically come up to speed with what was done and what happened during that time. So, and I tried to synthesize it in as much, basically trying to keep it as uh, uh, as succinct and as informative as possible. So, uh, while I don't believe in kind of dragging on for like a longer time, I'm trying to kind of be rather and be uh, conscious of time, aware of time, and try not to take too much of it for myself or for you today. So, okay, so I go ahead and share the screen for you. So let me, and just let me know if you can actually see it. Let me just put it on. Sorry, let me
Yes, we
just.
see. Yes, it's also fine, although it's not presentation mode, but we
Yeah,
see.
let me just put it
Mm-hmm.
back. It was. Can everyone see that now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so this webinar, this peer learning webinar, is about the gender equality plan that was developed with, of course, initially with from ZSI, and then with we were associated partners during that time. It was with a gracious spearheading of ZSI that this and let's say organization of ZSI that this activity was implemented. Uh, so just just a brief going through of the agenda for today. So I will be presenting the achievements, basically the training of higher educations on the gender equality plan, the drafting itself, which was of course part of the trainings, but that was another element. And of course, as we at Nasri are also, in a sense, we not only contributed but also benefited from this activity, since it was uh, at, at the focus of our commitments to, and also an eligibility criteria for us to basically participate in EU programs, Horizon Europe and the like. We were also included. We are also included in this route of stakeholders. Then, after myself, I would invite my so the contributors from MIR to say something about, or basically comment if they have any comments, and then it's open for reflection and discussion from all participants. Yeah, moving on. So let's just go over with some basically I'm not going to say the most
Then
boring ones. Sorry.
you haven't changed slide, and it's not in the presentation mode, so it's just the first slide we see.
Sorry. Let me just fix that. Is that okay now?
It's the third slide if you want to show the third one.
It's it is on the third slide.
Yes, but not in the presentation mode.
Oh, okay. That's a bit of a okay. Let me try and share again.
But we
Then
still see it, although it's not in presentation mode. So if you have any technical problems with that,
it's
just to
probably
let you know that we can see, even it is
you
not
can
in.
you can see you can
We,
see
we
it.
can read, we can read even if it is not in a presentation mode. So if it causes the challenge problem, some problem, just
Okay.
go ahead with this mode.
Okay. Well, all right. Let me. Is that okay for now?
It's still not in presentation mode, but it's readable.
Okay. Sorry about that. Let me
Yeah,
just
it's
let me
fine.
just try and make it as sorry as readable as possible, even if
Yeah.
it's not in. Okay, so just some uh, just some definitions out of in the context, of course, of Horizon Europe, because or let's say not just Horizon Europe, but in the context of research and innovation. A gender equality plan is of course a formal document which is adopted by an entity, by a legal entity, of course, and it sets out very clear objectives and measures to promote gender equality within a certain organization. And of course, since it is uh, ever since it was set out in Horizon 2020, it is a mandatory eligibility criteria for public bodies, higher education institutions, research performing organizations, research organizations from EU member states and associated countries, which means pretty much that any institution or organization that does not have that criterion fulfilled, they cannot be funded, or their projects cannot be funded under Horizon Europe. Okay, uh, just so what are the elements of a gender equality plan? So, as I mentioned before, it is a formal document, and it is so by being basically officially published and signed by the heads of institutions or organizations. Normally, it's by top management, and of course, it's also publicly endorsed. So it's not simply just a, a matter of publishing it on a official website, but it's also a matter of endorsing it publicly in in events, in the media, and elsewhere. Of course, it's just basically it's something that you mention, and you not only mention but you endorse it as publicly as possible. It's also has the element of dedicating resources to it, of course, and there are human and financial resources that are allocated for the design, implementation, and the monitoring of the GEP, the GEP. Of course, there's also data collection and monitoring involved, and of course, this goes through a collection of sex and or gender disaggregated data, and this data is supposed to be on personnel, both personnel and students as well. And of course, this also includes annual reporting of assessment of annual reporting and assessment of the progress of this monitoring. The fourth element is includes training and capacity building, because this I believe it's a very important element, and these have to be done at a regular basis, not simply one off or one and done occasion, but there has to be regular awareness raising and training on gender equality and unconscious bias. There are also areas of intervention that need to be outlined, need to be pinpointed, and actions in gender equality plan must typically address at least, well, I put some examples there. Of course, work-life balance and organizational culture, uh, for gender balance in leadership and decision making. There must be gender equality in recruitment and career progression, of course, and integration of gender dimension in research and teaching content. And of course, there's a measure uh, of the measures against gender-based violence, and that includes sexual harassment as well in the workplace. Okay. So the purpose, of course, of the gender equality plan would be to advance institutional change, of course, in research and innovation. Uh, that would be, of course, it is an an, an instrument that tries to advance institutional change. Um, it Secondly, it's supposed to basically ensure a more inclusive and effective research ecosystem, and that, of course, tries to basically be as inclusive as possible of all throughout the organizational system. And of course, it also promotes the integration of the gender dimension in research and innovation content for better outcomes, of course. That's another important aspect of it. As just as part of the Policy Answers project, this activity is also part of the capacity building program for Albania, and task 3.1. And this is actually activity number one, which was basically concluded in October, at the end of 2023. Um, as So let's get on to the actual core of this activity, which was basically the training program of research performing organizations to implement the GEPs. So the main purpose of this training program, of course, was to support 8 research performing organizations in their attempts to, or in their support them to actually draft themselves a gender equality plan, which would, of course, be tailored to their needs for the years 2023 and 2024. And this was supposed to, so this the basis, or the uh, let's say the sources that were taken from this was international good practices, and of course the context, the local context as well. So the condition of this was that the GEP, of course, as I mentioned earlier, was that it's a prerequisite for participation in EU programs, and in order for them to be able to participate and to apply in EU programs, they would need to satisfy this prerequisite. The method that was used was that firstly there was the identification of stakeholders uh, of the research performing organizations, and stakeholders also present in these that would be the focus or the target of this activity. The creation and the signing of a memorandum of cooperation between the uh, project, the activity or the task leader and the universities, and of course the organization of three workshops that would I'm going to go through each of the workshops further down. And the time period, this was done between September 2022 and September 2023. So with an extension, of course, it was to allow all RPOs to publish their gender equality plans in their in their websites, or to publish them widely. Um, okay, so next, uh, as I said, uh, part of the training started with the mapping, which was carried out by the project, by WBCRRI.net project. And of course, this identified certain, let's say, certain good examples uh, or organizations that had already the ecosystem or the conditions, or they had already let's say fulfilled the conditions for a gender equality plan. And this was, of course, this is two organizations, because University of Tirana is one of them. CoPlan and Polish University, while there may be, say, legally separate entities, they tend to, CoPlan and Polish University tend to be affiliates of each other. So, although each basically designed or had their own gender equality plan already. So, and of course, the terms of reference on the training programs were prepared in September 2022 by ZSI, and these basically set out the baseline of the activities to follow on, or the training programs to follow. Okay, so the first workshop, which was organized on the 23rd of February on 2023 in Tirana, was basically focused on presenting, let's say, presenting the project and the GEP experiences and good examples, good practices to participating higher education institutions. Of course, the sharing of European Union and Albanian strategies. That explained basically how to identify stakeholders and how to design context analysis, how to draft a context analysis. And of course, that was done by providing certain European Union statistics, which were given for reference. And of course, this gave also an overview of the plan of activities and the follow-up and training. Wanted to, so this was pretty much, I just wanted to go through a participants list just to showcase basically the number of participants, and also the number of institutions or research performing organizations that were represented there. And there were, let's say, so officially there were eight representatives from 8 different RPOs that were present, and of course all the efforts of their work I will show at the end of the presentation with the links to their GEPs, basically, that basically the outcome or the output, the final output of the trainings were so they would uh, publish their GEPs, in their websites. Um, so just the first workshop, uh, the RPOs started in earnest work on collecting uh, gender disaggregated data, and perform their context analysis. And of course, they received the mentorship. They were mentored by the uh, by the consultants, by the trainers, and also by the project by the project participants in these in this activity. And of course, their support came in form of the explanation of the indices and worked examples. And of course, this data would be gathered so that it can be discussed in the next workshop. So this pretty much was the first workshop would the set the tone and set the scale of the work to follow afterwards. Some lessons learned, of course, from the first, some challenges and lessons learned from the first workshop. Uh, I suppose one of the challenges that the participants uh, actually mentioned was that to manage the different needs, backgrounds, and perspectives of the 8 different RPOs would be considered a challenge because, of course, while the there are certain common aspects, of course, each RPO had their own very unique differences. For example, for example, uh, while one institution may have had, for example, as a main challenge the need for say more women in decision making roles or in higher qualifications of some others may have not had this as a challenge. So there had to be a tailoring, of course, of the needs, or there had to be a discussion at least of the different needs. And of course, the goodwill, of course, and the endorsement, let's say, of leadership and rectors, deans was the a success factor, and this was across the board. Everyone viewed that as a let's say a lesson learned, or let's say one which could be seen as a challenge and a lesson as well. So. Uh, the first training program was followed by a second one, which was this was done online because uh, this it was in a sense quite challenging and challenging to the point where you could not actually have all the participants from the first workshop attend. So this was moved online. And this was done on the 18th of April, 2023, and it focused, of course, on building pretty much on what was left as follow-up actions from the first workshops, and this was basically interpreting the data from the context analysis, and of course also defining the main points, the main objectives of the gender equality plan. Of course, again, mentors were closely working with their assigned RPOs. Each RPO had 2 mentors to support them, and they provided support in data and indices identification and also design. And this was based on ISCD classifications. Moving on. So some of the takeaways from the second workshop were that, uh, of course, gender inequalities, sorry, were identified, and of course, if we, for example, gender balance in leadership positions, where let's say the University of Kocha in this case had, which may have been uh, may have been not simply a case of the University of Kocha, but uh, they had in the leadership positions, let's say, a gender imbalance of one woman to, of course, two men in the rector, deputy rector, administrative positions. And of course, another takeaway or another element that came up from the collection of data was that there also seemed to be difficulties for women to progress at the higher levels of the academic career. So, from example, moving from an associated professor to a full professor role, so that there were uh, data indicated that there were fewer or lower percentage of women actually moving up uh, to that point. And this was, of course, factored into the plan. Just this is an example, a good example, I would say, that was taken from the University of Tirana, and this was basically an example of how to design a part or a part of the gender equality plan. And it's in Albanian, but I'll quickly run through it. So the first row that identifies the area or the field, you might say, uh, of intervention, and in this case is gender balance in leadership and decision making. And then the second one would be the specific objective that would need to be fulfilled, and that would be the increasing of awareness raising on gender equality and gender bias in the staff and decision makers. And the expected results would be an increase in the number of women that are, for example, members of decision making bodies within RPOs, for example, of senates or bodies which basically have decision making responsibilities. The increase in the number of elected women in decision making bodies. Um, the advancement of new advancements taking in consideration gender equality, gender balance, and of course the strengthening of the role of women members of uh, leadership organs or leadership structures. That's it. Just something that from the second workshop that I suppose something on a funnyish side of the trainings that were done. So basically just some more common, I suppose, gender stereotypes that in a sense have are need to be addressed or need to be considered rather when you're implementing the gender equality plan. So of course you see how some Europeans seem to think that 88%, it is acceptable for men to cry. I don't know if that's funny for you, but for example, the most important role of women is to take care of home and family. There's like men consider that 43% of men and then 44% of women. So just something that, in a sense, puts in perspective for example, the challenges of implementing and of course not implementing just the gender equality plan, but implementing more lasting change, of course, after that. So this was the second workshop was followed by a third, and this was also done online on the 4th of May, 23. And this, of course, as I said, followed on from the second one. And this uh, actually focused on giving the research performing organizations the basically the means to actually draft their first, for example, their first versions, their draft versions of the GEP, based on the data collected previously, on the context analysis, and the support from the mentors, and of course the lessons learned from the first two workshops. And participants in this case worked in small groups to also align objectives, measures, and actions. Okay, so moving on to so some of the challenges and the lessons learned from the third workshop were that so getting leadership involved would be also again something to consider, and something to basically address at a certain point. So having them to on board right away, or at least having them to, in a sense, endorse the gender equality plan is quite beneficial. Some of the participants felt that taking inspiration from successful examples and good practices was also a good uh, a very good exercise, or something that would be beneficial to them. Of course, each institution felt they needed a tailored approach. They needed something that would be applied in their own organizations, of course, in their own conditions. Of course, stakeholder engagement, and that isn't simply just staff or students, but also trying to expand that stakeholder engagement to other stakeholders who would be seen as contributors, or or who would need further work to, let's say, convince or to actually get on board, is also important throughout the process. And also not just have them not just have them as part of the say designing, but also of the follow-up, of the implementation of the gender equality plans. And one of the mentions, or one of the elements that all participants from the workshop named, was that the forming of a network of people who worked closely to achieve the gender equality plan was a benefit in itself. Of course, they were able to basically foster connections with each other. So next, basically this is this is basically what the participants achieved in the end. So, sorry. So the first three, as I mentioned, they already had their own gender equality plan already posted and active and endorsed. And from that, it was the other institutions. So from 4 to 10 are the institutions that were actually able to benefit and to draft, or to, let's say, draft a final version, let's say, of the gender equality plans, and also publish them. And of course, those are all linked. So I'll be able to basically share excuse me, share the um, share the presentation with you, and you can click on them and actually uh, see for yourselves the actual plans that were designed. I just wanted to, because yeah, I couldn't leave this out, because of course Nasir was also a part of this cohort or this group. And of course, as a public agency, we are obliged to have a gender equality plan, of course. And this doesn't simply stem from our obligations to the national laws, of course, and strategies, but also as a criteria, as I mentioned, to participate in EU programs, Horizon Europe, Erasmus, and others as well. And just a few points that a few points of NASRI's commitment to the gender equality plan in research and innovation. Basically, it set a national focal point for the framework program and gender equality promotion. It it's that Nasri is basically taking concrete steps also in the internal implementation to fully integrate gender equality principles and standards into its internal rules and procedures. Uh, Nasri has also appointed a focal point, a gender equality plan focal point, to supervise, monitor, and improve the implementation of the GEP. Uh, Nasser is also involved in awareness raising and continuous activities and campaigns to basically disseminate and communicate the elements of gender equality and the plan itself. Uh, Nasser is also committed to providing technical assistance to stakeholders on perhaps on designing or support in setting out the main points of drafting their own gender equality plan. Uh, of course, in line with the European best practices, Nasri is also integrating gender equality considerations into its own funding cycle, including proposal evaluation and project selection. And of course, last but not least, the Nasris will also establish monitoring and monitoring mechanisms and collect gender disaggregated data to progress the gender equality plan implementation, both as an agency and among its funding stakeholders and beneficiaries. I think I've come to the end um, of my presentation, and of course, if you have any questions or comments, uh, feel free. I'm here to try and answer as to the best of my abilities to all of them. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Emilion. Thank you for this great presentation. It's great to hear the experience in Albania, where many universities, not only universities as I learned, but RPO, 8 of them launched these gaps. Do you probably have any statistics, any feedback from them? How does this help them to gain new projects, or maybe it's too exclusive statistics?
Well, I mean, I could of course mention the statistics, and of course, in our case, for example, I could also mention the. I'm not sure if the gender equality plan worked into it or it was simply something that helped it, but we could mention the success with cost, of course, which is something that something that we try and in a sense showcase quite a bit. So cost in Albanian's case, there's a participation of more than 80% women. So that is something uh, that I feel encourages more researchers to participate, or more women researchers to actually engage in cost. And through cost, of course, they also create those networks that move on uh, to
Yes.
applying for Horizon Europe projects. So
Yes.
that is something that I would probably mention as a success in this case. As I
Yes.
said, not
Yes.
not simply of the gender equality plan efforts, but probably as a more systemic, I'd say, effort to.
Yes,
And
that's
of course,
great. Yes, that's a
and of
great
course, yeah,
input and great statistics. Thanks for that. I'm glad that I asked that
and I
because it's
feel when it
encouraging. Yes.
yeah, I feel when it's uh, I have to say that we as Nasri, we're also like our general management is also women. So our both our directors are, so there's a balance there. So there's a woman and a man. So and of course the specialist and uh, the other employees, most of them are women. So it's there is uh, quite let's say a positive inclination towards, of course, women being more prominent in research. And of course I say that not just in our organization, but I noticed that in from my experience with researchers, I noticed that um, from every info event that we have held, I would say most participants would also be women. So that would probably go into a 60% to above participation. So I feel there is quite an interest for women to actually be involved in research and innovation. And of course, there are challenges, as I said. Of course, when it comes to specific cases of for example, as I mentioned, higher decision making. Some research organizations may not be may not have that gender balance that others do. So, and we are basically trying to basically raise that awareness, try and be as vocal as possible, so that they can also basically join the others as well. In that
Yes.
sense.
Thanks. Thanks a lot. Milica is raising her hand.
Yes, in the end, thank you for your great presentation.
But
I just wanted to
please,
ask, do you hear me?
yes, yes, just keep your microphone closer to your mouth. I guess that was a problem at the very beginning.
It's headphones, so
I headphones. Okay.
okay.
Okay, we hear
So
you.
my question was, since you presented that you planned the gap for 2022, 2023, so it's 2-year period. So what is the recommended time period that a gap should cover? Is it 2 years or maybe more? Because that's somehow strategic document. And also I
Normally,
have another.
yeah, normally I wouldn't actually. Sorry, but I wouldn't actually have this information like completely down for you, or that I'm not exactly sure, but a 2-year plan, I suppose it is more achievable. So it has a better chance of those objectives, the SMART objectives, to be achieved in that time frame. So I suppose it was intentionally done as a 2-year plan, so that it could serve as a stepping off point. It could actually serve as a good example, so that then the institutions themselves can improve their plans as they go, or basically have a baseline, and then from that they can improve or draft their own gender equality plans. Of course, this was, I suppose, this started as a need to be present, or to participate in, be open to funding for European programs. And of course, this is something that they were missing before the gender equality plan. So in a sense, they were obliged to actually go through this process. But also, as I said, as an example to, for example, non-public universities or non-public higher education institutions who are not obliged to actually have this plan, but in order to actually to benefit from funding from EU programs, they actually need to go through it. So, yeah.
If I may add, also in responding, Milica, the case of Institute Mihailo Pupin, we actually created these gaps even before it became mandatory for applying to Horizon programs. And in our case, the latest plan was created for the period of 4 years. So it is to be expired this year from 2021 to 2025. This we have it published on our website. So it was because of course applying especially for applying to the Horizon, because Pupin has more than 100 Horizon projects so far, and then it was really necessary to have it. But I would probably also add our experience, and for any of you who would like to see the example, it is in English on our website of our institution. We created a gender equality committee on the level of our organization, which is composed now in some practical terms. I always like to speak also about some concrete things. Maybe it will help some of you who don't still have it, or just plan for the next round. This committee is composed of course, on the top it is general director, then assistant to directors, director of HR. We have also the head of marketing department, and two experts, my colleague and myself, senior researchers, and of course it's my sub expertise, women entrepreneurship. And what for example, and every year within this 4-year period of gender equality plan for the whole organization, we create some action plans actually for every year, which we submit to the national authorities. And for this year, for example, last year we published one book of women in science and ICT here in the long history of Institute Mihailo Pupin. So that was a publication, very interesting, with the biographies of our senior colleagues and younger scientists, female. And we did a promotion here and we had some 20% of men in the audience. I personally invited at least members of the scientific council of our institute, and I said, come to support your female colleagues. And then they come in greater number. But still, it's kind of, I would say, it is like okay, it's pushing through the legislations, and but still in the mindset of people it is not like it should be, and this is what Imirion also emphasized when it comes to the decision-making positions, that it's different. And maybe one more tip before Gabriela takes the floor. I would also recommend to you, if you have other projects in which you have some gender dimension, which is common, then you can, if you plan year by year like we do, then you can put it in your action plan, of course. For example, my team, we have one project, Stream IT, which is related to the empowerment of women and girls in STEM. And there are many activities. And for this year, of course, we included these activities on this project in our gender action plan. And we let's say, solved the problem on what to do and how to find the funds, but still it is obligatory to have some funds as well dedicated to gender activities. So you, when you report to your national authorities, you have to provide argument or documentation that you spent some money specifically on gender issues. So what we did, for example, in some projects, we had a gender dimension, but not budgeted money. So then we used the money from that dedicated source and compensate the lack of money for that in, for example, one Erasmus Plus project. So this is how it in practice can be managed and to make synergies and win-win, of course. Milica, do you have still a question?
I have one more question for Indian. Also, thank you for your comment. It was valuable to see how you deal with the GEP. My question is, since you mentioned that you integrated gender equality into funding, your funding, so can you give us an example how you integrate gender equality into funding programs you have?
Sorry, I was trying to put the volume up a little bit. It was a bit trying to hear. Sorry, could you repeat it so that I can?
Yes, gender equality into funding. How did you integrate that? Can you give an example?
Funding? You mean funding?
Yes.
Or,
Funding.
because it was not.
Believe what? So I think what's the funding? Well, it wasn't completely dedicated towards, but it was. It is basically through including activities that involve, for example, gender mainstreaming or gender equality. So I suppose it's through practices or through kind of designing practices that that are part of projects or basically have an element of gender mainstreaming in our own, let's say, in our own national funding project. So it wasn't. So I'm not exactly actually sure how like exactly sure how that was done, and I'll probably need to check and have a more clearer answer for you. But I think this was probably done through including the including of activities in the existent funding, but not specifically through having like dedicated funding for these activities. So it was more through coming from what funding we have, to actually allocate some of that to activities that promote and raise awareness for gender equality, rather than like have like a specific one for just that. So from what I understand of it, at least.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for asking for these questions and for answers. Now, if you want, you can ask also after Gabriela's presentation. We will have reflections and discussion part. So, Gabriela, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Miriam, for sharing the experience. We are small organization, and I can only imagine the hardship in developing, in organizing everything and aligning the different interests, and on the top of it, dealing with all the prejudice that we already mentioned and Sanya mentioned as well. Why do we need now this thing? And it's not just about people on decision-making positions, but what is sad is that a lot of women still think that there is no issue. We don't have any issue with gender equality. We don't have any issue with women entrepreneurship. So this is something that we need to deal on a daily basis. So it's not just convincing decision makers, but also convincing our co-workers, female scientists, because because they haven't experienced something, they claim that doesn't exist. That's something that is completely ridiculous, because that is because something's not happening to you, like a war or something like that. It does not exist. That's a little bit, stretched example, but that's how it happens. So we have that problem a lot. I will not take a lot of time. I just wanted to share a very short, brief presentation on what we have designed in Policy Answers specifically for gender equality, mainstreaming, and inclusiveness. It does not only relate to GEP, to GEP, or however we may call it, but I will focus a little bit on GEP. So just in line with what Miriam presented, the importance of training, of building capacity, because it's not just about training. It's not like it's not a science fiction. It's not rocket science. It's not physics. It's not something that you need a lot of training, but it is about raising awareness. And through these different tools that you use, through the workshops, it's about understanding what does it mean in practice. So just a couple of slides. Allow me to share my screen. And we can just go quickly. I hope you can see it.
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah.
I don't know if it is. Okay. So
yeah.
This is something that I will not go into detail. So in principle, we have three main outcomes that are related to the topic today, and they are also related to the capacity building. So it's a cross-cutting issue between Work Package 6, because this is done in the framework of the Work Package 6, one of the tasks dedicated to gender mainstreaming and inclusiveness, and Work Package 3, capacity building and support. So the first one that we've designed was the guideline, which was designed mainly for our project, but it also can be used for any other projects, on how to ensure that all of your activities are gender mainstreaming and inclusive. So here we had this is a document that is available to all partners, and it has a proposed toolbox, how to collect data, how to define roles, responsibilities, how to do the monitoring and everything. And we also had a dedicated webinar on this, not only on this guideline, but a dedicated webinar where we presented this guideline. So you can find this in our YouTube channel of the Policy Answers project. So I will not go into detail, because everything is there, and people can learn a little bit more about this guideline. Of course, this is not an exhaustive guideline. This is just something that has been custom made for our project, but of course it can be adjusted for any different projects, regardless if they deal with research and innovation, but they can also deal with some other aspects. So this is also something that you can use. Another thing that we decided to do, because of this vast number of resources, when you think about gender equality, gender mainstreaming, gender equality projects, there is a lot of things going on. We do try as a project in Policy Answers, in other projects, to collaborate. European Commission tends to, organize these clusters, sister projects, to call it like that, to exchange experiences. But it is a fact that since 2007 till now, there's so many different projects that we're working on gender equality from different aspects. And there's so many different toolboxes, guidelines, online tools that we can use. It's just a matter of finding them. So that's why we decided to design this catalog. It is basically something that is going to be, it's ready. It's a tool in our Western Balkan Regional Innovation Academy, the one that we have in our Western Balkan Info Hub. So there is the link. And this is the resource where we can find many different things. But in light of what we are discussing today, it might be interesting to check the overview of the research and their actions in this last, since 2007 until 2024. Then it also has a list of relevant gender and inclusiveness projects, and there are also some resources for monitoring and evaluation of gender equality plans and policies. It's not just about plans for the public or private research organization or universities, it's also about policies, because our task is not only about projects, plans, but it's also about research and innovation policies. So this is just a quick, these are all different projects from 2007 until 2024, just selected. Of course, there are many others, but these are selected. We've gone through them. That has some tools, some guidelines, training programs, webinars that we can access and learn a little bit more when it comes to gender equality, and many of them are dedicated to gender equality plans, many of them, from different strands, from different horizon sub-programs and topics, but many of them are focusing on GEPs. And we also have provided in this catalog a very long list of projects that some of them are some of these projects, where we say what are the thematic areas, what resources can we use, links, how we can access them, and how we can use them in our work as research performing organizations or policy creator, depends on your background. So that was the catalog. And we also decided, in light of leaving behind the training material that will be a lasting resource, so that people outside of the project and later on can access. So that's why we designed a dedicated training program. So the training program, we engaged external experts that designed the training program, consisted of 5 modules, 1 introductory and 4 specific modules, and supporting materials like quizzes, additional reading materials, and things like that. And what we are doing at the moment, we are using this training program of training materials to design an online course that is going to be available, these 5 modules and all these materials that are going to be available once again on our Research and Innovation Academy of the Policy Answers projects, but it's going to be under lectures and courses, whereas the guideline or the catalog is basically part of the tools. These are the lectures and courses. So we are in the final phase. We are now working on the module 5, Research and Innovation, opening the path to future researchers and beneficiaries. So basically those are videos and they are interactive. You can access to different learning materials, and they're going to be learning materials that will be downloadable so people can access them like that. So there is one specific module in this training program or online course that is going to be launched very soon, dedicated to monitoring implementation of gender equality plan, because I think that is also very important. And what Sanja also mentioned, once you design it, of course, designing it is a very rough and difficult process, but also securing funding. And it's being resourceful, how to showcase that you're actually implementing these actions, and how to design a monitoring that will not become, analysis paralysis at the end, so that it's, put you in a very difficult position, but basically to design a monitoring framework that is practical and that can help you with it. So this is just a snapshot. For instance, this is what we see on the big screen is how it's going to look, and then you click on click, and then this document will show up on a full screen, and you can read the document. So this is something for learning more, and there are of course going to be documents for additional learning when people have more time, some exercises and things like that. And we also, what we're very happy is that we have a distinguished illustrations for each of the modules. We have a separate illustrations. So I think it's going to be interesting and valuable, and it's going to be a lasting resource, and it's going to have a lot of links to other resources where you can learn a little bit more. So that is what I wanted to share. What we have been working. Besides that, we are organizing some peer learning webinars with sister projects. We exchange information, and we also promote Policy Answers on their events. But this is instance of tools and resources that we can all use and that are designed within the project. So if you have any questions, comments, of course, we can discuss today or anyhow we decide. But in any case, I just want to congratulate Miriam on the hard work. We also have a gender equality plan, but we are more flexible. We are small organizations, so for us it's a bit easier to organize and work things around. And the problem is now that Sanja, we have become all female team. So that's another problem. Okay, we have two men, but most of us that are, like permanent staff, we're all female. So that's
Yeah.
going to be another problem. How we're going to deal with that now? Because it's not just about equal, having a lot of women. It's also about equality.
Yes, what I noticed in other projects, EU funding projects, everywhere women makes like 80% of the staff. I don't know if it is because of a great big work and low salaries, or at least in Eastern Europe, but
Yeah,
definitely it's like that's the situation.
yeah.
I think
But
I
of
think we
course,
have I think we have you beat there. We have three. So
you have three
there's
men, yeah?
3 men on ours.
Wow,
So we,
congratulations.
That's inequality, you see?
Yes,
Balance.
balance. Yeah, by the way, in our institute, which is famous for ICT, in the long history of more than 60 years, only one general director was a woman.
Hmm.
So this is also interesting. Although at the moment we have around 42% of female researchers in institute, which is much more above the average
Yeah.
in EU as well. So, but still, what Mirion very smartly noticed and commented, at decision-making positions, there are less women than men. Okay, Gabriela, that was great presentation of our resource that we successfully included in the Regional Innovation Academy under this gender-related innovation segment. I would address all of you colleagues to this very resourceful part of our academy. And also, I would invite you, Gabi, to present this gender-related innovation at our thematic group Women Entrepreneurship EN meeting next time. So I think it's great, and definitely it always raised the interest of the colleagues across the network on gender issues and gender resources, gender-related resources. So it's something that the continuous capacity building is needed actually, and things are going faster, I would say, in recent, let's say, few years related to this gender equality mainstreaming and development of these plans. Okay, are there any inputs from other colleagues, maybe from, I don't know, university, if anyone is with us? You? No? No, then, okay, I would like to thank all of you. I think it was very fruitful, although shorter than others, but the topic is specific, and with only few of us today contributed to the topic, I guess we had a fruitful, effective webinar. And I'm looking forward to the next webinar and use this opportunity to announce it for the 2nd of July, when Science Technology Park will host the next webinar. And I hope we all be there as well. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Tanya, sorry, are we going to have some survey or regarding this webinar?
I can
Survey, questionnaire.
I can
You mean a questionnaire to evaluate this? Yes, we can. Miriam, you can probably share it.
I can share if that's the same one that you shared with us, then I can send it
Yes.
out to all. Yeah.
Yes,
I'll be sending that.
It was sent by Bujar yesterday. For the template
Okay.
was sent yesterday by Bujar, but it is the same format
Okay.
as of yesterday and for the previous webinars
Right.
and I also disseminated that. So I got after the webinar of Institute Mihailo Pupin and Bosnia and Herzegovina. Please also rate these two webinars in the separate template as well. So I got only from Bosnia and Herzegovina the evaluation. So yes, thanks for
I
reminding me.
also filled the evaluation yesterday.
Sorry.
I also filled in the evaluation.
Yesterday questionnaire. Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
All right.
thanks a lot.
I'll be sending that out as soon as possible. All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
right.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
nice
you.
day.
Have a good one.
Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye.